Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Erik Voss, and looking back on Avengers Endgame and looking ahead to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, one mystery that haunts me is, what did Bucky know, and when did he know it? If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, lucky you. You have a normal brain that is not obsessed with minor details from a film that we should probably all just move on from. But I'm referring to the moment at the end of Avengers Endgame when Captain America was preparing to time travel back in time to return each of the Infinity Stones, and then Bucky gives him this subtle, knowing farewell.
Don't do anything stupid till I get back.
How can I? You're taking all this stupid with you. Gonna miss you, buddy.
It's gonna be okay, Buck.
Now, on first glance, this is just a sweet goodbye between two old pals. The Captain America theme music underscores the moment, and Bucky is making a callback all the way back to the first Captain America film.
Don't do anything stupid until I get back.
How can I? I'm taking all the stupid with you.
What is it about these soldiers and their callbacks?
On your left.
On your left. But on second glance, or if you're me, 30th glance, it's clear that Bucky knew that Cap was not coming back from this trip. Endgame's directors and screenwriters confirmed it, with Stephen McFeely saying, "It's clear from Sebastian's performance here that he's been clued into Steve's decision," and Joe Russo saying he knows. Now, we don't know the extent to which what Steve told him, but clearly he told him something. It is this mystery conversation that we need to investigate, not just because what was said, but which Steve said it to Bucky. Yes, I propose that James Buchanan Barnes was actually more implicated with Steve Rogers' secret off-screen time travel mission than it seems, and that the Winter Soldier, a former Hydra assassin whose ledger drips with all kinds of sins we'll never know about, is covering up yet another
total conspiracy.
Now, the simplest explanation for what Bucky knew was that he and Cap simply just had a conversation as Cap was suiting up and packing up that suitcase with Infinity Stones. Like Steve could have said, "Bucky, don't tell the others, but after I drop off these stones, awkwardly force Jane Foster to re-eat the Reality Stone sludge and give Red Skull some stink eye as I throw the Soul Stone back over that cliff, I'm gonna stay in the 1940s with Peggy Carter and live out my life in a whole new timeline with her. Can I come with you?" No, it's harder to get dinner reservations for 3 than for 2. I get it. Yeah, totally plausible conversation. But the stranger element of this scene is Bucky's reaction upon seeing old Cap sitting on the bench.
Sam. Go ahead.
In addition to Bucky knowing that Cap intended to stay in the past, he also seems to know that Cap would return as an old man and would want to hand off his shield to Sam. Why would he say go ahead in this moment? If it were my best friend showing up as an old man on a bench, I'd run over there and be like, "Whoa, dude, best magic trick ever. You look like Clint Eastwood." I'd just be like, slapping the jowls. I don't think Cap would have known in that previous conversation that he would have lived his whole life and then decades later found a way to come back to this timeline. Cap wouldn't have known enough to be able to tell Bucky to be chill when he as an old man would show up out of the blue to hand off the shield to Sam, not him. However, Bucky's chill demeanor when he does tell Sam to go ahead suggests that he must have been emotionally prepared for this moment. How? Well, there are 2 explanations for this, both of which are kind of creepy when you think about them too hard. Explanation 1 is that we are applying the wrong theory of time travel to the end of this film. Previously, we have discussed how the directors and the screenwriters are split on what exactly happened with Cap in the final minutes of the movie. The directors claim that Cap going back to the 1940s created a split new history, an alternate timeline that we never see, what I'm calling the new timeline theory, which is consistent with Endgame's theory of time travel creating new branch timelines when significant things happen in the past. The screenwriters, in contrast, claim that no new branch timeline was formed, that Cap simply lived on within our history, the same timeline theory, and that Cap aged into an old man in the background of the MCU events that we had been watching this whole time, and he just cruelly sat on the sidelines for all of it. The new timeline theory, the one I have been going with, makes Bucky's old Cap reaction a bit odd, because he should be totally thrown off and confused by everything he's seen. Slapping jowls. But the same timeline theory, the wrong interpretation, actually could make Bucky's reaction sensible. It could suggest that Bucky, at some time after 2014, the events of Captain America the Winter Soldier, got approached by old Cap, and then that these two just stayed off the grid. And during this secret side friendship, old Cap could have explained to Bucky his eventual plan to show back up in 2023, moments after his younger self went back in order to hand off the shield to Sam. The problem is, I just do not like the screenwriters' same timeline theory. It contradicts their own time travel logic, and it makes Cap too much of a lazy creeper who let 9/11 happen. So I propose to you a second explanation for how Bucky knew what he knew. Let's assume the new timeline theory, and that Cap lived out his life in an alternate off-screen history, and that he found some technological way to return to this timeline, maybe like meeting up with Hank Pym to get his Pym particles sometime after 2015, and then dusting off that StarTech wristwatch and blasting his old bones back down the time vortex pipeline. In this case, Cap's arrival point could have been any time. Kind of like Back to the Future. Marty realizes he didn't have to return precisely when his past self went back. He could give himself 10 more minutes lead time. But rather than arriving early to warn his buddy about Libyan terrorists, in this case, Cap could have arrived 10 minutes early just to creep out his buddy and tell him what was about to happen. Therefore, the Cap that told Bucky what was about to happen was not the young Cap suiting up. It was a creepy old future Cap hiding behind a tree. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be creepy. He could have been sitting on that bench for 10 minutes and just no one happened to look over, except Bucky, and then he could have told him, "Look, when the time is right, you can direct their attention over to me, okay?" So I really couldn't have gone back with you? Dinner reservations, I get it. Because again, only that older Cap would know or care about who inherits his shield. Younger Cap, who goes back, was not ready to hand off that shield yet. His main focus was returning to his soulmate, getting that life Tony told him to get. And he knew that in the alternate 1940s life he would have lived out, there was still some avenging and Hydra bashing to take care of. He'd need the shield. And then, only after living out that life and retiring would he know what to do next. Either way, Cap's movements will forever be shrouded in mystery. But one man knows more than he let on, his longtime buddy, Bucky Barnes. What total conspiracy do you think I should investigate next? Comment down below with your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss. Follow New Rockstars on social media at New Rockstars. And subscribe to us on YouTube to join us as we investigate every weird acting choice and underthought plot point.